date is December 19, 20, December 19, but January 3, 2023. The time is, what time is it? 5:27? 47. Okay, thank you. And we are gathered today for our Business Council special meeting. And I would like to call Secretary Gardapi, if I may, for a opening invocation, if I could.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, Lord, just to thank you for allowing us to gather here today to talk about business of the Pawnee Nation, Lord. Just thank you for allowing us to be here. Pray for all our membership out there, all those who are sick. We have a new year, Lord. I just pray that you're with all our people out there, Lord, and those who are sick, that you heal them. Watch out for our veterans, Lord. Just pray that we can continue doing all these great things for our people, Lord. And all these things I pray in your Son, Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Noah, and thank you. I want to welcome our Attorney General, Mr. Chad Smith is here with us this evening. Tribal members are here, and we are gathered for a Business Council meeting, the first of the new year. And want to just say that I'm looking forward to 2023. Good things happening for our nation. And Mr. Secretary, if you would call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Walter Eckhart.
Titaku.
Jordan Canuho. Here. George Gardapi here. Carol Chapman.
Here.
Cynthia Butler.
Here.
Donna Hare.
Chitaku.
Gene Evans. Here. Sammy Kimball.
Here.
Thank you. We have all hands on deck tonight and with a quorum. And so the next item up is the approval of our agenda for this evening. And I understand we have one addition to the agenda. So could you let us know what that is, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, sir. Under new business, we're going to add a number 2, approval of resolution 2302, election commission appointment. And those are the changes.
Excellent. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Call for the vote, please, sir.
Jordan Canuho.
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman.
Yes.
Cynthia Butler.
Yes.
Donna Hare. Gene Evans.
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's turn to the first item in new business, and that is approval of resolution number 23-01, Table Creek Treaty Annuity Drawdown. And I want the record to reflect that in the year 1857, the Pawnee Nation entered into a treaty, all 4 of the bands, with the United States government, in which the confederated bands of the Pawnee Nation ceded and relinquished to the United States all of their lands, with the exception of a reservation that was established on the Loop River, 30 miles long, from east to west by 15 miles wide, north to south, headquartered at current-day Genoa, Nebraska. And in this treaty, one of the articles provided for an annuity payment of $30,000 a year in perpetuity. And this has been the Pawnee annuity that has been dispersed per capita to our tribal members, for many years now. And this particular treaty, it was a historic treaty because the tribe at that time had been pushed off of the Loup River by the Sioux and Cheyenne and Arapahoes, had burned our Earth Lodge villages after about a 30-year war, and pushed the Pawnee Nation off of the Loup River downstream on the Platte River. And we were living in two villages at that time near a holy place, the Animal Lodge at Pahaku. And this particular treaty, it created a reservation back on the Loup River, much to the chagrin of our tribal enemies at that time, that they had spent several decades trying to drive us away from the Loup River. But under this treaty with the United States government, the nation got a reservation back on the Loup River, and we returned to the Loup River, you know. And so, but that treaty is the one that established this particular annuity that we're going to talk about on this resolution. It was signed by the number of chiefs from the Chawis, were led by Man Chief. The Skeetees were led by a chief named Comanche Chief. The Kitgahaki were represented by the chief that the Great Spirit smiles on, and the Pitahawirat were led by Buffalo Bull Chief. And so in this resolution, 2301, the first one that we'll be acting on for this calendar year, it indicates that the Business Council does hereby initiate the necessary action to have the special appropriation funds transferred from the U.S. Treasury Department to the Pawnee Nation's annuity holding account to the Pawnee Nation at the First Bank and Trust Company. And so, is there any further discussions on this, folks?
President Eckhawk?
Yes, ma'am.
We have James here. This was $30,000 annually. If James could tell us this year, with our new membership, how much that check will be for this per capita payment? James? You there? It's usually around.
While he's getting that, I'll make a motion to
Okay.
approve Resolution
Okay.
2301.
I second.
Thank you, Council. We have a motion and we also have a second. And are there any further discussion on this resolution?
I just wanted, pardon me, President. I just wanted clarification on the word per capita. Is that the norm?
That, you know what, that's a good question, Sammy, because the treaty does not specify whether or not this would be made in a per capita payment to our tribal members. I'm trying to look for the language here. But I know that the practice has been simply to make it a per capita distribution.
Couldn't it just be called an annuity payment? I mean, something like that. It's not really per capita. I mean, everybody else regards that as a per capita, may be coming from our gaming, and it's really not that. You've got some hands, President.
President Eckhart. It is in our annuity payment plan as per capita. That's where that word comes from. So
I understand, but it
yeah,
doesn't bode
we would just
well.
have to change it. That's, you know, I was asked about that earlier. But yeah, that's where the language comes from, is from the payment plan that the
How
Pawnee
about
Nation
just an
has.
annuity payment?
Yeah.
That'd be my request, please.
Mine also. Per capita means, this is a small payment. I think, James, were you getting ready to say the amount? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't know you were talking.
James, I was asking earlier what the exact amount is of the annuity this year with our new membership.
Did it happen after the recording and transcription started, maybe?
Yes.
I'm not sure if he can give an exact amount because of, the payments are gonna be made next fall.
Okay.
We
all
draw
right,
it down now.
Okay. Well, it's normally around $8, isn't it?
I hear you now.
$8? I mean, I would rather call it an annuity than a per capita because $8 is not a,
It was through Erica's.
never mind, James. We're going to go ahead and move on. Thank you.
So are you suggesting, Carol, in that fourth whereas clause that it says the Pawnee Nation will issue a per capita payment to tribal members as author, are you wanting to change that language?
Yes, that's my request to an
Oh, okay. Yeah.
annuity payment.
An annuity payment?
But the point is to say to all tribe members, right? And that's what per capita means. So,
Yeah.
and we could, I mean, if it feels more comfortable, we could just say to all tribal citizens,
It does already say that.
doesn't it?
Yeah, an annuity payment to tribal members, period.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, thank you.
All that the treaty says, it's in Article 2, it just says, in consideration for the foregoing session, the United States agree to pay to the Pawnees the sum of, initially it was $40,000 per annum for 5 years, and after the end of 5 years, $30,000 per annum as a perpetual annuity.
I'll amend my motion to add the
Thank you.
change.
Thanks, Cynthia.
But also, if we could change the annuity plan to say the same thing, because it does say per capita in there. I don't know if Jamie can send that to us real quick, and we can add it to the agenda to make that change as well, to get it done, over with.
Okay.
If we're all in agreement, it shouldn't take long.
So what would that whereas clause read? We'll issue a
Annuity.
treaty, how about a treaty annuity payment
Sounds great.
to tribal members? Does that sound okay? Okay. Are there any other suggestions, questions, or concerns regarding this?
President, on the third whereas, at least the copy I have, the Bureau of Indian Affairs has special appropriation funds, Pawnee annuity available for the Pawnee Nation and it says of.
Oh, yeah, and the,
Amount
Yeah,
of,
we'll just need to add amount.
okay, thank you for that. Any other changes, folks? Okay, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve as amended.
We have that motion.
I'll amend my motion with changes.
Okay, I'll second with change.
Thank you for the motion, Councilwoman Butler, and the second, Councilwoman here. Any further comments on this, folks? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Garter, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
yes,
Thank you, council. Motion carries. Next up is the second item here of the evening, and that is approval of Resolution 2302 regarding the appointment of Tammy Tubbs to the Pawnee Nation Election Commission as alternate effective January 3, 2023, term ending May 31, 2026. Is there any questions or comments on this motion or this resolution, folks?
Okay. I just have one comment on the, underneath the resolution number, it says January, or the second whereas, it says January 7th. If we can get that changed to January 3rd. And then I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2302.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you for the motion, and thank you for the second. Council, are there any further comments or questions on this motion, resolution, please? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Garter, PS, Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you, council. Motion carries, and congratulations to Tammy Tubbs. Looking forward to her service. This brings us to open forum, and I do see some tribal members that are present. Does anyone wish to address the council? Then I'll also open that up to staff as well that are here, including the Attorney General.
You can,
Folks? Anything? Yes. Good evening and welcome. Happy New Year's to you too. I don't know that there's ever, or I don't recall seeing any limitation on that. I really don't. Does anyone recall anything in the Constitution?
No,
the
but
Constitution-
logistics would be a nightmare. You'd have to fly in for meetings and such, you know. I don't think that we've opened it up for virtual participation yet.
Okay, well, so that was one thing that I was wanting to ask about, because when the president first came on, he had put out a call for people, you know, with experience and I guess like networking and whatnot, to send in like their resumes and things for a pool, you know, to volunteer to serve in some capacity with the tribe. And you see that a lot of people serve on committees and commissions and boards, and they're not necessarily from in-state, right?
It's true.
Have you guys passed the electronic voting, right, for meetings a while back, like a couple years ago, I think,
No.
to be able to vote, like, over, what, 5 emails?
No? You can request, I'm sorry if I'm speaking out, but I think you can request your ballot and that type of thing electronically.
No, I mean, as a council member, you guys can vote on stuff by email, right?
No?
No, that all has to be in person?
Yeah, in person.
Well, so I guess I was just wanting to know what your overall consensus is, because there are tribes that have individuals that serve on the council that are out of jurisdiction in that state.
You raise a good point. I know that the Citizen Band Potawatomi, for example, they have seats set aside on their council for out-of-state representatives, and in today's modern technology, it is easy to meet virtually, and this council has met virtually throughout the pandemic, on and off. And certainly the Constitution does not limit eligibility to otherwise eligible tribal members to run for council based on where they live. We have council members that live all throughout across the state that are serving on this body. And so I really see no legal impediment in our current Constitution that would prevent an out-of-state member from running for office. I think that would be certainly a first. But with today's technology, it would be logistically possible to do that. We are a small tribe, and we do have some very talented members that live out of state, and I could see where it would certainly benefit the nation and strengthen this body to have qualified tribal members that live out of state that serve on this body. But we haven't really addressed that question. But I see no legal impediment for someone to run that does live out of state.
Okay, I just wanted to ask for those that are virtual or that watch this recording, since we do have elections coming up, because we have so many council members, we have so many tribal members that live out of state, and sometimes there may be things that aren't getting voiced on behalf of out of jurisdiction tribal members overall. So that's why I was asking, because like stated, you have been doing virtual the past 4 years. And there are a lot of individuals that are highly capable and qualified. And I'm not saying for myself, because I'm not in that kind of thing, but there are other individuals that live out of state that are, I think that would be a very good asset. And I'm not saying for officers, that would be the thing that I would say, maybe not to run for an officer position, because, you have to be able to sign, you have to be, on hand. But for out of the other 4 positions, I think that would be a good thing if an individual chose to run for council that lived out of state, that, they should do that if they're wanting to. And just to reiterate, in mind to individuals about the convention, the Constitution Convention, if you haven't spoke to your elders or spoke to your family members about that, be sure and do that. I don't know what the outreach is. I think I've asked before, and everybody's really overworked and busy this time of year. But it's very important to all our tribal members to have input and to vote, and I know it's hard to get online for those the meetings, and I myself at times, the time change can be a little bit challenging, but I try to catch up and get informed. But it's very important, you guys out there across the nation and across the world, to be informed on what is going to be going on that ballot and our membership. Because we have heard things about, well, we'll get more money, or they count us for these grants, when we're enrolled. And I don't know if everyone, is really on the know of those type of fundings, like for education, right, for 477 funds, DOL, how is that allocated? Back when membership came up to be lowered to 1/8, the individual that was going around with the petition, that was the one main thing that he talked about was, we're going to get more money for education if our numbers go up, right? But I believe that's done by population, right? The funding for DOL. So, and for housing, because that comes up a lot too, like they always talk about when out of jurisdiction doesn't get, services from the housing authority. So there's a lot of things to take in consideration of what type of services we may possibly get more funding for and what, we may not get more funding for. And how we get those services, it's not necessarily for, everybody. And people complain about that, but I don't think they truly understand how that works. And I don't know if that's covered or if it has been covered or explained to individuals, but it's important for you to understand that even if everybody is changed to 4/4, how that will impact services. Even if it's changed to lineal descent, how that's going to impact our services that our tribal members get, not just for in jurisdiction, but for those out of jurisdiction. How is that going to impact those funds and those services to our members? Because look at IHS. We have, not only Pawnee tribal members, but we service how many tribes and, that come to utilize the facility. So, that's one thing to keep in mind is, it's not necessarily going to give us all this money. And some people seem to think that, and it's not. And we get online and complain and everything, but, take a look and get, more educated about these different types of funding and services that we get and how that will be impacted. I'm kind of at a cross of how I feel about it as far as making everybody 4/4. How are you going to still, recognize their other tribes? But overall, it's just, it kind of seems disrespectful to our full-blood members. And I understand, our tribe dying out at some point, but right now, we have a lot of tribal members. We have a lot of individuals that, we're still going to be here. So whatever is decided upon, I just think it's very important for everyone to talk with their family members. Not all the bands have met. Our Ski-Dee band hasn't met to talk about that, and I don't even know if that's even still an option, quite frankly, because of y'all's timeline. But, that's very important. And I didn't even question, was out at all the hang games, but, I didn't even talk to Pat and Gilbert more about that as I did previously, before I was home. But, there's so many things that are impacting our folks, and that is an important one, is our membership and what's going to go on that ballot. And think about it. What's the number of individuals, tribal members that we have that can vote? Not everybody votes. And it's going to be a shame. I won't curse, but it's going to be a shame if, whatever happens, and then you can't please everybody, and then people will be complaining, right? That's just always how it is. But, you need to get out there and vote. You need to get in contact with, your family and let them know what's going on, especially those that aren't online, because maybe they're not getting that information. We have a lot of individuals that aren't on social media or don't even have an email account. So how are they getting that information? We haven't had a mail out, we haven't had a newsletter, and that's understandable, but this information needs to get out to our people. And I don't even know what has been mailed out, I can't even remember. But, it's just very important for our Pawnee people to know what's taking place, because we do know that we have individuals that, if it was lineal descent, the numbers will go up. And there's family members and friends that have children that aren't enrolled that want to be enrolled. I have family members and friends that have kids that aren't enrolled. So, just looking at all aspects of that, it's very important. If you can make it over to the forum. If you can't, then be sure and get online if they, get online. If they stream it, get online and pay attention and get that information to your family members and to your friends, because it's very important.
Thank you, Ms. Black Owl. Those are very complicated remarks that you have, and I know that the Constitutional Convention is really grappling with the membership issue and all of its ramifications. They formed a work group, to try to grapple with it and come up with some possible proposals, and but there's a lot of ramifications to that. There really are, and you've brought a lot of that to, as what you're talking about. Folks, are there any comments on what was just said?
I have a comment.
Sam?
Thank you. Thank you for being here and expressing yourself, because I completely agree with a lot that you had to say. It's imperative that we do our due diligence for our tribal members to make sure that everybody's on board, not just a certain few putting it out there, and I'm an advocate for that communication. And I'm sorry that the Skeeties haven't met. I know that there was kind of a lull because of pandemic and then the holidays and then on and on. I'm not making excuses, it's just what it is. But I know that Pat and Gilbert sure enough are gonna be wanting to have that. And I would, and I think I brought this up, maybe not to all of us council members, but I think the Osages, Otos and such, are neighboring tribes. They do have council delegations that go down to Oklahoma City, that go down to Dallas, that go down to Tulsa, rent a a conference room at a hotel and invite tribal members in to have one-on-one discussions with those people that are outside. I certainly can't reach everybody. The Echohawks that live up in Alaska, that's probably not going to happen, that we're going to go up there. But, logistically, we might be able to make that happen, and we should make that happen, and get the word out there. And I'm sorry if I made you smile, but I'm just saying, was it funny, George?
Oh, no, I said tell them to move to Hawaii. I'll make sure I make it.
You can go to Hawaii. So I think we have to do that. I think we have to do that, and I certainly am just one person, but I'm going to do my best to drag my feet in the mud until I'm confident and satisfied that our members are knowing. That's what I got. Thank you very much.
I had a comment, President. I want to thank you, Ella, for those comments. I also agree that our Pawnee people should be knowing everything in detail about what is happening on the Constitutional Convention. And the forums are very important, because that is where people are supposed to be shared the information. And it has been my concern as a council member that we need to extend this farther out, because our Pawnee people have not been able to attend for various reasons, and our turnout at the ones that we have had are very low, just 2 or 3 people. And I really feel like our Pawnee people should have some more input into what is being created. And we voted as a council to extend the date to 2024, and I'd just like to ask, are we still going for 2024, or will this be placed on the ballot at the next election? in the coming summer. I was just wondering how far along it is.
It's up to the delegates on that. I left it up to them, and they redid the schedule, and I think their last meeting, in-person meeting, is in 1st of March or something. I don't think that that's, to me, I don't think that would be enough time to get on the ballot, but it's up to the delegates on how far they want to take it out. And we did let them know that we have an extended time, but, you know, they make their schedule, so, and it's a vote of everybody on that. That sits as a delegate, and that's what they chose to do. They chose just to press forward.
I have a question on that, Cynthia. So the delegates make a decision to push it forward, but it's going to come to this body right before it goes to the ballot, am I right? And we're going to vote on that, right?
I'm not sure how we're going to vote on,
Nothing's going to go on the ballot unless this body right here decides it's going on that ballot. I mean,
well, it's
that's
for
the empowerment that we
The people are
have.
going to vote for it.
You're talking over me.
I just don't know, I don't know that process. So,
Well, you should know the process. You're the chair.
well, thank you.
So,
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, well, you know, I think it does go to this body, but I'm not for sure what you guys vote on. I know that you'll vote on to have the secretarial election. That's how we did it the last time, whenever the Constitution was changed. But it's a vote of the people on what happens. The people make these decisions, and that's why we pulled the delegation together to do this.
So my whole thought on the delegation was that they were going to be doing all the heavy lifting and moving
Yeah.
and doing, and then it's going to come right back here. And I would highly recommend that happen. I would hate to know that we have 17 people on the nation or 22 people on the nation making that decision and putting it out there. I definitely, we need to take this offline. This is supposed to be a 15-minute meeting, but we really need to have this talk.
And we can have...
Even President, if we have it outside of, you know, we can have another council meeting, but let's just talk about that and get in alignment and get on the same page. Because I'm leaning on you to tell us, because you do chair it.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to know.
I have a question. So the delegates get to decide if it gets elected on and the Pawnee Business Council does not?
No, the people decide if it gets elected on.
No, I meant when it gets put on the ballot, like we extended it to 2024, but you said the delegates chose instead to push down and get it ready in 23?
It's everybody is at the same level on that convention table. Whenever I presented and told them that, hey, we have a resolution that extended it out, we can extend it out further, and they said, let's pull together some new dates, send it back to governing docs, let them get the dates in the calendar together, and that's what we did. We presented that. Everybody talked about it, and they decided that, hey, we're going to press forward. If something does, you know, like we said, the membership is going to take a little while, and I don't even think that the Nasharo Council article has even been met on. So it still may take us out into, you know, later on in this year, so we can get that work done. But that, I don't know, can't give you a definite answer on yes or no.
Yeah. I got one more, President, just one more. I think it's imperative that we have a report on, at least once a month, at our council meetings on what's going on with this constitutional reform, and I also would like to talk about intergovernmental affairs, what's going on with that as well. Those are two very powerful committees that we have, and I'd like to have reports from each of them to know where we're at. I know that we're working with the county, we're working with the city, possibly the state. I know that we're working with NARF. I want to know what we're doing. I think it's imperative for this body and for the people to really have a good highlight of what's going on. And thank you very much. That you satisfied my question. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. Ella May?
Thank you. Yes, that was, so that's why I was wanting to stress to our nation. Because from my understanding from past meetings and from what I read online, so you guys will make your recommendation, it'll go, through the governing documents, then to the council? Or it goes to the council?
If they want it to go through the council, then it'll go through the council, but it won't go back through governing documents. We're just the people who plan it.
Yeah. The recommendation of this is what's going to go on the for the revisions.
And
Yes,
that was
so-
three
so that we
strong
can-
words, if they want.
Well, so that,
See, I don't know the official process. We might have to get an Attorney General opinion on it. I'm not for sure how that, because there is certain things in the Constitution that's there now that says that amendments like that will have a yes or no. You know, on the ballot, it'll have a yes or no, but I don't know if that's how we're going to present that, because we have several options for membership alone. And whenever you're talking about membership, you just, I feel you can't just have a yes or no. So it's just, that guidance has to come from that delegation and from the people that are there to bring it forward to council to do that. So what we're requesting is the secretarial election, which it goes to the BIA, they grant that, and then we can put it on the ballot. I don't think it's really going to happen. That whole process is a process. You have to give them 30 days to review it. If they don't like it, then it goes back to the tribe. You know, it's a process to have to do that. So I don't know where we got that it was going to be put on this ballot, but it could possibly, and it could possibly not. We may have to have another election later on in the year to get it taken care of. That's the only thing. Overall, it will come back to this body in some form to ask for some type of approval, if that's what it is, approval, or if it's just to get the secretarial election done, that process.
okay. So like your resolution, I can't remember how you guys do it, but it'll have section.
We will outline, to do the resolution, yes, we will outline everything
And all the
that's good.
changes.
Yes,
Like, yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what is important, because it does not seem right for just I don't know how many it is, 17 or whatever, to make that, this is what's going to be voted on, because you guys are who we elected to move stuff forward on behalf of our people. And first it started out with 50, and then it dwindled down. And, you know, it's just very important that it goes before all of you. I forgot, you reminded me. The other thing was, I went over to the secretarial office today to look at those white binders, and, you know, because they are public record, and we can look up and see the meeting notes for the committees or commissions that are in those binders. And I know it's, you know, been pandemic or whatever, but even online, there's only 3 committees, I think, 3 or 4, that have a link you can click on, and you can see, you know, what the princess committees, their meetings, their quarterly reports to you guys, what those are. We can look on there and see. I was looking for some specific one. It was the intergovernmental affairs to see what meeting notes we have. You know, as a tribal member, those should be available to us. You guys meet, they make decisions on behalf of our people, and those should be available to us. So if they're not going to be printed out and put into the binders anytime soon, then, you know, they should at least be put online. And if you're, you know, we're constantly overworking our assistants to the secretary, or our secretary and our administrative assistants, then why aren't we hiring that extra help to do that data entry, to get those online? Because I think all of the ones that Cindy chairs, most of them have their meeting notes, and the one that Donna does, it has information, but it doesn't have the reports or where you can read what's been happening. You know, that's very important, and that's transparency to us. And we voted you in to handle business on our behalf and for our people and for our kids. And it's only right that we are able to access that information. And I want to thank you, Jamie and Jennifer. They got those links back up. So you can see who was on all the committees. You can see the handbook for the committees and commissions. All that information, you know, that's a living document, and it should be updated whenever your committees meet. You know, that information should be available to us tribal members in this day and age, this digital day and age. That should be available, and it should be on the website. And if I go over to the office, you know, even though, like I said, it's mind, I guess, that, some things that maybe, individuals who need a job, they could do that typing out of those meeting notes or whatever, copying for whoever. I know each committee has an assistant or secretary that helps them, but to help that background, maybe that's some, positions that could have been filled during break with these college students that are also helping out and working so hard, because that's documentation and it should be available to us tribal members. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I think that might be a good idea, Jennifer, that we should try to work with the committee chairs to make sure that they're uploading information about their work, so that it can be looked at online. So that's very well taken. Thank you. Anything else, folks? Auntie? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, the what?
What is the mask policy?
What is our mask policy at the current time? I know it's required in the
Yes.
offices.
Yes, in the tribal offices, whenever people leave their office and walk around, they should wear a mask. Okay. What happened to the PBC sponsored bingo? When is that going to take place? And where?
Miss Ann, I've been working on that. I never got an answer back from the executive office or the director. So I'm just waiting for them, because we all were in agreement to do it. I just haven't heard back on when we were able to do that. And I know COVID hit pretty hard the last couple of months, and so I'm still waiting for answers.
And I was going to be meeting with Miss Tiffany, and then she had a loss. So whenever I meet with her next month on our one-on-one, then we'll get caught up with things. I'm giving her some time right now. Okay. The National Indian Council on Aging meeting has traditionally been the trip for the elders to go to the NICOA has traditionally been funded by PBC. Is that still going to happen?
That's this year, Ann?
Yes.
What are the dates on that?
September 25th through the 30th in Cherokee, North Carolina. And I think one of your guidelines for people that want to go, besides them having to help raise some funds, I think those of us that have gone more than one time, in the past 14 years, I have gone 4 different times. I don't want to go. I want to give my speed up to somebody that's never gone, if they are interested in going. And the rest of us that have gone more than 4 times should disallow ourselves for whatever. And give the other people that want to go, who don't never have the opportunity. Just a suggestion.
I think previously we were going to fund that and COVID hit. I mean, that's what affected it before. They canceled it, didn't they? They didn't have it.
2 years ago.
Right. So, I mean, Jennifer, who would be in charge of assisting the elders with that? Is that Tiffany's program or who?
Right. And I know this past year, we paid for half the trip. Is that correct?
Do we pay for half?
The last time, I didn't know the very last time they had. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't the convention. It was just a trip to, no, it was to Shawnee. last year.
Can we just take it offline and maybe figure it out?
And I just want to add, just
Cynthia?
in the past, I think one year they did fund it all. It just depends on the council and what funding and stuff they have. But I think another year that they matched funds from what was raised. And then another year they paid for just Pawnee tribal members to go. You know, it just kind of differs, but I think it always went through the budget committee. And someone from the budget committee worked with the elders to figure out what options that the council had. And so I think that, from what I recall, I think that that's what they used to do. Yeah, and it just differed from council to council. I think I've seen just about everything go on, so.
Okay, folks, any other comments on any issue? Go ahead.
Excuse me. The PBC gives birthday money to the enrolled members when they reach age 85. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have y'all ever thought about lowering the age?
Yes. I think I created a draft policy on that, but I don't remember. I guess nobody ever responded, but I think that we tried to do that at one point because we've talked about it several times. I think Donna's brought it up a couple of times throughout the couple of years, and we have been discussing that we would like to lower it, but it just getting the numbers and stuff. And I think I sent it to the budget committee for last year's, to look at for this year's budget. Not for sure if the budget committee looked at that. I'm not on that committee, so.
What age should it be lowered to?
78.
78, that sounds like a magic number. Oh, no. All right. Okay, anything else, folks?
Are we going to, Jamie, did you get us that annuity payment plan? We did pull it up. Donna, did you still have it up? Yeah, I know part of it's cut off, but it's just one word in that first sentence. And just have it pulled up. I'd just like to get it taken care of so we don't have to take care of it later. But it says, the Pawnee tribe has proposed the following tribal plan to distribute the $30,000 annuity as a per capita payments, If we wanted to just change that per capita word on there to coincide with our resolutions that we now do, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add approval and revision of the annuity payment plan.
I'll second that.
Okay, folks, we have thank you for your motion and for your second. Any discussion? Donna?
I know Cynthia is really trying to make sure that our words, the terms that we use match, but I'm uncomfortable with bringing a plan forward and without having time to review it and voting on it. So I'm I'm not in agreement on putting it on tonight's agenda. But I understand why that she does want it on there.
Thank you for that. Any other comments, folks, or questions?
Can I? No, go ahead.
Sammy?
So with that, if we could get the document to review, we'll add it to the next agenda for our next meeting, make sure everybody's on the same page, we can read it. There might be more, who knows, I don't know. But that would be, that would probably satisfy Donna's concerns. And I understand that we don't like to add stuff at the last minute, and we want to do our homework, so that makes sense. I'll resend my second.
Not yet.
Thank you.
But no, I just wanted to know, because it's not a law, it's just, it's a plan. it's a payment thing. I didn't know, are we sending it to budget committee, or, it's just one word. It's not changing the dynamic of what it is or what it does. So I just want to know a little bit. I know you're uncomfortable, but we all know what that one word that we're changing, and it's not a law. It's just, a piece of paper saying that we're going to do this. It's not in any of our laws, so.
I think what I was looking at is more of what Sammy was talking about in looking more at the document, that there may be more changes in the document that we may want to make.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of ignorant of it because I didn't know that it wasn't a control document, that it was just a plan of some sort. So if it's just something that it's just a kind of a guideline for us, I would say let's just change it tonight and put it to bed.
Does it really need council action? I mean, it's not law. Just curious.
Yeah, it was approved by council. So I'd say yes, it would be approved by council because it's a plan that we're going to follow.
Then I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further comment, folks? Call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Garter, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Kaki,
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries. Okay, so where does that leave us? Are we're done with open forum, is that right? And
No.
next meeting date?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the changes
Oh,
to the
okay.
annuity plan.
Okay.
To take out the word per capita and replace it with annuity payment.
Oh, okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. We have a motion and a second. Any further comment? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Garter, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Kaki.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries. With that, I think that brings us to setting the next meeting date of the council. And what are your wishes, folks?
I would like to have a budget meeting first, so I could call one for next Thursday, a budget meeting. And get any possible,
Okay, that'll be on the 12th, Carol?
yes.
Okay. And then that same day, it looks like we're having the budget summit at Dr. Evans' house. Is that correct? What time is that, Gene? What time did?
I think it was 6, wasn't it?
Oh, okay.
6.
Okay. So with that, could I propose the following week then sometime? 19th or 20th for our next business council?
Dawn, are you teaching?
I work every Thursday.
That's what I
Every-
thought. How about Tuesday?
On the 17th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What time? 5:30? 5:30?
That's no good for me.
No good?
I gotta go to, I gotta go do some work stuff that day.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say Wednesdays and Thursdays are not good days.
I'm looking at my schedule. If we don't have anything on Thursday, if we can't do it the 19th on Thursday, then I'm looking at my earliest date after that would be the 21st 25th of January. How was that? Would that be too long, too late in the month?
I'll need to be excused if it's on the 25th.
25th, how about the 26th? Oh, that's back on Donna's bad day. So you're totally out on Thursday, okay? Okay. What about the 27th on a Friday? Would that work? Does that work? 5:30 on January 27, it's a Friday.
What? I'll bet. Friday.
Friday? We could move it to the following week if that works. Would you prefer the 27th or either the following Monday or Tuesday? Either date?
Yeah. Following week, I'll be out of town.
All that week?
Yeah.
Let's shoot for the 27th then, if we could, if that would work then, folks. 5:30? Yeah, well, it's up to Dr. Evans and
Sorry, got a kid with a fever who's,
oh, sorry.
anyways, what day was it?
Friday the 27th?
Can you go early?
Oh, 27th, I'm good.
Okay, how early, Donna? Or who? Anytime? Folks?
About noon.
Noon? Let's try noon.
Can it be virtual?
And the meal will be included, correct?
Huh?
I said we can include a meal on that one, right?
Yeah.
You know, we jump around on setting our meetings, and we will go ahead. Let's go ahead, mark your calendars down for the 27th at noon. And it's certainly at the council's convenience that we're able to be flexible and jump around, but Jennifer and I and Brian and Jamie had a meeting today, you know, and they indicated to me that might be fine for the council.
Right.
But it's a hardship on the staff to be jumping around all of the time. And so therefore, staff was wondering whether it would be good to set kind of a set time, maybe bi-monthly, to actually meet that we can build our schedules around. And if we were able to do that, that would help it might make life a lot easier for our hardworking staff,
For all
you know.
of us.
And really all of us, you know.
And also
And-
tribal
What a
citizens to know
plan.
when to check in to see when the meetings are.
Yeah.
So that was the thought, you know, maybe going forward, if we could possibly ask this, or think in terms of the next time we meet, which will be on the 27th then, that we will put on the agenda item, let's put on the agenda a kind of a standard date for our meetings going forward. And of course, if something comes up that is time sensitive, we can always schedule an emergency meeting, you know. But I think it would make our staff, the life of our staff, a lot easier, you know, instead of jumping around here and there, kind of a herky-jerky life, you know. So if you would be sure, let's get that on the next agenda item, and we'll pick some standard dates going forward. All right, so I think that brings us to an adjournment. Jamie?
Is the meeting on the 27th, is that virtual? Or will it be in person?
I would say it would be in person, but council, some of you that live out of town, I'd like to leave that option open for you guys that live out of town to be able to attend virtually at some of these meetings, Carol, for example, it takes a huge chunk out of her day and night to be here, and certainly the vice president is very busy as well, and I had wanted to make their lives a lot easier too, so I would just say that as far as the president is concerned, you guys have, dispensation to attend some of these meetings that we may have in live here to do it virtually. Just for that reason, I'd like to make life as easy as possible for everyone, But anyway, other than that, I think this brings us time to adjourn at this point. So,
President, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
okay, thank you. Do
Second.
we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, clock on the wall says it's time to vote, sir.
Jordan Canuto.
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman.
Yes.
Cynthia Butler.
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Oh,
Gene Evans.
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
All right, we are dismissed. Thank you, everyone. The time is 6:54. So much for a short meeting.
Short enough.